Hello and welcome to this, the second of our series looking at the migration challenges that Rivermeadow Technical Services has come across when migrating for customers. In this short video we'll look at NFS mounts that occur inside of a VM and how we can deal with those quickly and efficiently. Let's start by looking at the problem. We're going to open a session into one of the VMs that we're going to migrate using PuTTY. So with a session open, let's log in as root, enter the password, and you'll be able to see that we're actually logged into a box called app01. Now if we dig a little deeper, we can look at what mounts are present using df-th, and we'll see, I'll highlight them for you, that there's a couple of NFS shares in there. Now these might actually cause us a problem because we can't get to them using block level copy. But let's see how we can deal with those and make them quite simple within Rivermeadow. The first thing to do is to get over to the Rivermeadow portal and let's migrate that machine across into our Azure account. So we'll follow the process that we've seen before in previous videos. We're going to migrate this into the Azure UK South region. So we go off and do a migration readiness check, and we've seen this happen before. What we're going to do is we're going to check there's nothing in the source that's going to cause us any problems when we come to do the migration itself. The first thing we do is check that we have a target cloud that's ready, and then we run some checks. Now we have some warnings on this machine, and these are because of the source. There's nothing actually there that's going to cause us a problem because I've checked. So we can go ahead and ignore those for now. And we can click on Create Migration Profile to start the migration for real. Now we're going to go and create that migration profile. First we're going to rename the box. We're going to put an AZ on the end so that we know it's the Azure instance. We'll select some storage. We'll select an instance type. We're going to choose one that just matches the original. So B1MS at this juncture. Check the networking's okay. Give it a security group, the same one we've used previously. Check a resource group to be used. Quick double check. And then we can go and continue. So we'll get that warning that we had warnings. We can continue anyway. We know they aren't going to cause us a problem. Quick pre-flight checks again, and we'll be off and the migration will start. At this point, it's just checking that nothing we've changed will make any difference. So we'll check the target VM configuration and we'll check the app is ready to go. And there we go. We're off and running. So we'll just bring up the detail pane of this migration, and we'll pause it there and skip to when the migration completes. So there we are. The first part of our migration is complete with all 6 steps successful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log into that box that we've just created in the Azure subscription, and we're going to have a look at the disk structure on that machine. So df-th, same as we did on the original source machine. And you can see that there are no network mount points. So we didn't copy those across. If we do an ls, however, we will see that those do exist and they created the mount points, but we didn't actually populate them. This is where Rivermeadow helps you solve a problem you didn't even know you had. So we've created those mount points. What we can do now is we can do some clever stuff in the back end. That's basically just creating some disks and mounting them to these mount points. We can then use a feature of Rivermeadow software called data-only migration. Basically that will allow us to copy the data from those original network mount points into the newly created volumes. We can then keep them in sync. So in the background I've done the work that we needed to do, and we can see that we now have 2 new mount points ready for population using a data-only migration. So let's hop across to the Rivermeadow platform and let's get a data-only migration underway. So we select the target cloud as before, UK South, and then we use the stored information because we've already done a migration using this box, and select data-only migration. Then we'll check the migration readiness. This check will be quite quick because we've already done this on this machine. We won't need to do a full recheck. So you can see that it passes fairly quickly. That was actually in real time. So then we create the migration profile. Now we don't actually need to enter all of the information, but I just do this out of good practice and to make sure I'm happy everything is there. The major difference here between this and a normal migration is that we have to enter a target IP address. Now we're entering the target of the machine we created earlier. It's worth noting that this could be a box that we created in Azure without Rivermeadow. Now we can see all the volumes that are available to us, but we're only interested in 2, the backup and data volumes. and then I'll go through and I'll just complete the rest of the data, selecting an instance type, and say continue. Now, just to prove my point, you'll notice I didn't put a security group, but it's not stopped us, we don't need to. So we'll do a migration pre-flight again. This should be fairly quick, and we're off, and we're ready migrating that data across. Now, what we actually did, we did a data-only setup. What we do now is we do a delta sync against that data-only setup. Now, we do get the opportunity to do a few things here if we need to. We can update the mount points. Notice an exclusion where we can exclude some things. We automatically put in .snapshot because that's something that we come across with NetApp arrays when we have a NetApp mounted. We can update the source credentials. We can update the target credentials if need be. We can even update the target IP address if that's changed for some reason. Now we can continue the migration. Again, some quick pre-flights to check nothing we've changed is going to hurt us. Once that quick check is done, we can then move off to do our differential migration, which actually won't take very long. There's very little data on these partitions, so it will move across very quickly. So with the differential underway, let's go and have a look at the status bar and see what's going on. And we can see that the initial migration check has been done and that we're running migration. And as I said, it's very quick, less than 2 seconds. Let's jump back across to those SSH sessions and have a look at what's going on these boxes. So let's look at the original source machine first, and we can see that in the data directory there was a couple of files, and in the backup directory there was some files as well. The proof of the pudding is in the eating, so let's have a quick look across here at the target machine, and we can see that if we do an ls of the data directory, the files are now the same, and ls of the backup directory, and those files are there as well. And so our data-only migration was successful. We've moved data from NFS shares on-premise to fixed drives in our Azure environment. And now we can keep them in sync using delta syncs. That concludes this video. Thank you for watching. There's more available in the series, so look out for them. If you need to get hold of us for any reasons, the contact details are on the slide in front of you now.